Hi, this is Mika. Welcome back to my channel and welcome back to Leap Taken. Here I discuss all things witchy, pagan, law of attraction, spiritual, and anything else in between. So, what I wanted to talk about today was dream interpretations, or more importantly, just what do you do, how do you interpret dreams? Spoiler alert, I use a website to help a lot with symbolism. I think it's dreammood.com, and I think there's another one, dreamdictionary.com, something like that. But I use that because I feel like it's been pretty accurate. It kind of puts me on the right path so I can research a little bit more. But one of the main things I do, even after I look at the website, is I go to my tarot cards. And I'll look up in my tarot cards, okay, so give me more, I'll ask a little more insight into what this dream means. What is it dealing with, especially if it's something that really stands out. And I'll give an example. I had a dream recently where I was on a plane. Backtrack, I don't want to make it a long thing because I hate when people give me long stories about their dreams. But I had taken a job in the dream. My husband didn't want me to. I was going to an interview. It was out of town, so I was staying at a hotel by myself, and I was going to get on the plane. I don't know what's going on right there. I was going to go get on a plane to get to the interview or to come back from it. It was hard to tell in the dream. The plane went down, and it went in water, which is the worst thing for me. I'm cutting an onion. The plane went down, and I remember the feeling of, oh gosh, I'm not going to survive this. That was the dream, and I woke up. And if you know anything about dreams, you never take it literally. As far as I know, I don't have a trip coming up where I'm getting on a plane. I'm doing a lot of road tripping this summer, actually. But just know that it's not to be taken literal in most cases. Sometimes it can be, but usually you get it, I don't know, I feel like you get a hint that it's more literal. And at the time, I had been feeling very overwhelmed about some things. So I knew that typically whenever you think of water, when you're in a drowning situation or something's flooding, your house is flooding, you're in a car, you're driving through a flood or heavy rain, typically that symbolizes, at least in my case, it usually symbolizes feeling overwhelmed, like really overwhelmed about something. And in my case, I was fretting a lot about some stuff. It was related to finances. And my husband and I had been having conversations about, hey, maybe for years I've always single-handedly handled all the finances, whether in the beginning I was working and when I wasn't working outside the home. So I had been given some information on the success in marriages, and I pride myself on being a bit of a traditionalist, so watch out if you're not. So I had been reading some information about traditionalism as far as in marriages, and I said, okay, we're going to give this a try. My husband is trustworthy. He's not going to hide money from me, and I have access. I mean, I've handled the money for years, so. And we've been married for 12 years. We've been together for 13. Pretty much the entire time I handled the money. So between that and realizing my blood pressure was going up, and it's not so much of not having any money, because my husband moved us out here for a better opportunity, so it's not so much as a lack, but it's just the anxiety about, oh, now what new thing? Oh, so we have to take care of that too. And it's not even like stuff for us. We've had, paying off college debt, moving expenses and keeping it all together. And, oh God, we got this bill and the insurance went up. And it was just like everything just gave me freaking anxiety about it. So I said, okay, that's not good. So I talked to him. And me being who I am, very ritualistically, I assigned it over to him, meaning I made a pledge. I'm serious. When I do something, I'm serious. I made a pledge, a written pledge to him that I would entrust him with taking over the finances. It doesn't mean that I don't have access to, I have, our accounts are shared. I have, my cards and all that. But as far as, who presses the pay button, who decides if we're paying this early or if we're paying down a debt or all that sort of stuff, ultimately he would make the decision. If he wanted to talk to me about it, he will do that, and he still does. But it's his worry, not mine. And I think he's better equipped for it. So that's where I'm at. And that dream was my tell. It was telling me, hey, you're drowning with this. You're drowning with the budget. You're drowning with trying to figure out, how to maintain all this stuff, because we're kind of in a limbo situation moving here. So I still have some debts that I still have to take care of. Back in from Florida, we had gotten the utility bills in and all that stuff, and it's like, okay, so I've got to balance this with the new stuff, plus getting my kid at the time, well, both of my kids came with me, so getting them set up. So now it's like, okay, so one income for 4 people is supposed to just be for 2. So until my son went out on his own when we first got here, we had that situation. So it's like, okay, just stretching the dollar a little bit more. Thank goodness his wife's a witch, right? Because we were able to do that successfully. And I gained the knowledge along the way that it's time for me to let that aspect go and just concentrate more on manifesting and finding ways to bring even more abundance into our lives with material wealth. And that's what's been going on. But that dream was important. So someone else may have looked at that dream and said, or, it could just, it could have been this. It could have just, taking it very literal and thought, oh, well, are you taking a trip anytime soon? Or maybe next time you fly, it's something you need to worry about. Or maybe it wasn't even about you. Maybe it was about a plane somewhere going down, because I hear people can dream about outside of themselves, world events. It's possible. But I'm in tune enough with myself to understand that dream was definitely personal, and it was about me at the time. And it was a very strong message because, fun fact, I've been professionally taught to swim when I was a child, as a teenager, and then again as a young, kind of young adult. But I don't do it often, so I don't know if I'm a very good swimmer. I could doggy paddle. So the idea of a plane going into a large body of water, and I'm sitting in the seat in this dream, and I'm looking out with fear, and I can see my reflection, so I see the fear in my face as I look out, and I see the dark water, and just the stars and the moonlight is lighting, giving me enough lighting so that I can see it's water. And then I wake up, because at this point the water's at the window and we're going down. So yeah, that was terrifying for somebody like me. So I paid attention. I've had other dreams in the past where for anyone else it might have scared them. And I'll just give one more example. And the whole purpose of me giving these examples is not so I can tell you about my dreams and how I interpret them, more so that you can understand symbolism a little bit more. And that website I talked about, I think it's dreammoods.com, and another one's dreamdictionary.com. I hope I'm right about this. I'll put a link at the bottom just in case. Those are actually very helpful for me. And you can just buy a book, Dream Dictionary, give similar information. It's a sort of jumping off point to get an idea of maybe what the dream, like what is it trying to tell me, especially if it's just something crazy. Like, why did I see a black mouse run across a white floor? Like, what does that mean, So the other example is, and this is many years ago, like a long time back, I want to say 2008, long time ago. I remember having a dream that I'm around an aunt, one of my mom's youngest sister. My mom's the oldest out of 5 girls, and her youngest sister, who is closer to my age, in the dream, and we don't live near each other. I'm in Florida at the time, she's in Jersey, and she says, we're at some sort of like a city clerk office. We were at the front desk, and she tells me my mom died. And I'm like, oh, she died? You know, really, what happened? She's like, I don't know, she died. And then, you know how dreams are, they don't make sense. We're collecting like a death certificate as she's telling me this. So I'm like, okay. You know, I wake up from this dream like, what the frick does that mean? In the same week, I had a dream. I had been playing with a baby, a newborn baby. And the baby was a pretty little chocolate baby. And when I mean chocolate, I mean he was like almost bronze and like very brown, but he was shiny. His skin was so smooth and he was shiny. He was like beaming. His skin was so smooth. So he was happy and kicking his feet like babies do. That's pretty much all I got, and I'm playing with a baby. So that's pretty much it. I would find out that within a month of both of those dreams happened in the same week. The first dream about my mother symbolized change, major change. Death is change. It's kind of like with the tarot card, the death card. Something's coming to an end. It didn't mean literally my mother was going to die at that time anyway, and she is still alive. What it did mean was that there would be a huge life change that would affect me, and it was something I did not want to give up. That was, we moved. we moved away, and I was very happy in Florida at the time. In the neighborhood we lived in, we had good friends, we had routines, lives, everything was flowing. I loved my house. I had a beautiful house. It was on the water. All the bedrooms I wanted. It was the layout I wanted. I had just painted recently. Everything was great. I wasn't thinking about moving. But life. Life, I tell you, we went through some serious changes, some job loss, which dictated the change was going to happen. It wasn't about what I wanted anymore. It was about what would have to happen. And the baby part, that is my signal that something new is on the horizon. So there's two things that happened. It was like I was definitely getting messages. The first one is I'm giving up something. And the something was my home, my neighborhood, my state, the state I lived in. I liked everything. I liked how my life was just going along just fine. And I was very comfortable and very secure. And I never wanted to give it up. And I had to give it up. And that dream was my premonition, my message from spirit, universe, whatever you want to say, to let me know, hey, this is coming to an end. And it did. And the baby symbolized something new. And we definitely started a new journey. Everything changed. And it was never the same again, kind of like with babies. When you have one, everything changes. It's never the same again. You never go back to the way it was. You can try, but it just doesn't work with a new person. But in this case, our lives definitely changed. And not in a negative way. I'm sorry, because I'm kind of sound ominous here. But it changed. There were positive things. Obviously, there were challenges as well. But basically, at that point, it's like we went through a cycle of just one big change after the other. And it was definitely a time where we had to learn to trust each other, to trust each other's judgment, and to learn how to, my husband and I, that is, and work together. And then as a family unit, that we're all each other has. And it strengthened my family, and that's the big change that happened. Not saying that we didn't have that, but if you recall, I said where I lived before, we had friends, we had routine, I had some family. My sister was living there. And I think it was important for us as a family to learn to kind of pull in and just learn to be just us for a while, because down the road that would prove to have been necessary, that we discovered how to do that as a family. So those dreams were super important at the time. And if I had just taken it to believe, it literally, I would have thought my mother was dying and I was having a baby. None of those things were going to happen. Trust me, none of those things were going to happen. Baby part is specifically what I was talking about. And my mom is fine. She's too stubborn to have done that. You know, she's not ready to go out yet, and she's still pretty young, healthy, so no, that wasn't going to happen. But yeah, so that's basically it. It's hard sometimes not to take it literally, especially, I mean, when it's your dream and you're dreaming about something crazy like that, you know, a plane going down, you think, oh my gosh, am I going to be on a plane? Anybody I know going to be on a plane? You can't take things so literally. Symbolism is real, and the universe doesn't necessarily speak sometimes, but it usually doesn't speak to you, you know, in a very direct, in your language. So it uses symbolism. I don't know why. I'm sure I can find out. Maybe there's a reason for that, but I just know that to be true. So dreams, my message, don't necessarily take it literally, but do pay attention, look for the symbolism, and really take a hard look and examine at the things going on in your life and see if you're getting a message, if you're getting a premonition, if you're getting, or a solution to a problem. You know, maybe that dream just told you all that and you don't realize it. Another reason to keep a dream dictionary, which I do. So thanks again for watching. Again, I'm Mika. This is Leap Taken. Hopefully you enjoyed what I've had to talk about today, and you'll enjoy even more videos. So stay tuned for even more. Thanks. Bye.